Greece is almost as old as time. The layers of history shaping this mighty ancient civilization are still being revealed, sometimes with astounding results. From magnificent cities and untouched tombs to the most technologically advanced computer, each discovery paints a richer picture of a culture that helped shape the course of human history. In this video, we'll be going to show you 15 of the most incredible discoveries from ancient Greece that prove the Greeks were much more brilliant, ambitious, and exceptionally ahead in ways that still leave historians amazed. Number 15. The ancient Greek medical marvel. It might sound hard to believe, but ancient Greece was performing brain surgery at a time when much of the world barely understood the human body. In 2020, anthropologists were excavating the Polio Castro site on the Greek island of Thasos when they came across the remains of 10 people from the 4th century AD. Well, it's nothing new. Ancient bones are common, but what made this discovery so incredible was a single skull. The marks carved into it pointed to a very delicate cranial operation, one that demanded absolute precision and a deep knowledge of the human head. The discovery didn't appear out of nowhere. Greek physicians had been writing about trepanation, the practice of drilling or cutting into the skull, for centuries. Medical works associated with Hippocrates and later Galen described ways to treat severe head injuries and neurological conditions, showing that careful observation and practical experience guided their methods long before modern hospitals existed. A recent review published in the Journal of Clinical Neuroscience traced the roots of brain surgery across thousands of years. The experts concluded that the medical traditions of ancient Greece, alongside those of Rome, Egypt, and the Inca, helped shape the long journey toward the life-saving neurosurgical techniques used today. Number 14. The lost city of Tenea. For centuries, Tenea existed in a strange place, half history, half legend. Ancient writers claimed it had been founded around 1100 BC by captives from the Trojan War, but no one could prove the city had ever existed. But that changed in October 2018 when Greek archaeologist Eleni Korka discovered its long-lost remains near the modern village of Chiliamodi. The discovery had actually begun decades earlier. In 1984, Korka came across an ancient sarcophagus in the area and became convinced something much larger was hidden below. After receiving permission from the Greek Ministry of Culture in 2013, excavations exposed dozens of sarcophagi filled with valuable objects, followed by an ancient road leading toward a ruined Roman mausoleum. Digging farther north finally revealed what everyone had been searching for. Houses, a 500-square-meter bathhouse, clay water pipes, and beautifully preserved marble, stone, and clay floors emerged from the soil. Later excavations uncovered public buildings, shops, jewelry, painted vases, votive figurines, and more than 2,000 coins, with rare silver examples discovered in 2024. Proving that Tenea had flourished for decades rather than existing only in Greek myths. Number 13. The Athenian curse jar. The ancient Romans and Egyptians were not the only ones who relied on mysterious rituals to settle their grudges. The ancient Greeks had their own chilling traditions, and this incredible find beneath Athens proved just how far some people were willing to go. Back in 2006, archaeologist Marcy Handler was excavating beneath the Agora, the bustling heart of ancient Athens, when she found a small clay jar dating back roughly 2,300 years. At first it looked ordinary. What lay inside was anything but. The jar contained the dismembered remains of a chicken and a single coin. But its creepiest feature was on the outside. Scratched into the clay were the names of 55 people, alongside the repeated words, "We bind." The chicken's head and legs had been pierced with iron nails, part of a ritual believed to weaken, paralyze, or bring misfortune upon those whose names appeared on the vessel. The coin was likely placed there as an offering to the spirits expected to carry out the curse. Together, the discoveries revealed that sympathetic magic and sacrifice were not myths or legends. They formed a very real part of life in ancient Greece. Number 12. The ancient Greek mall today. We call a bunch of shops a shopping mall, but back in the days of ancient Greece, the same idea existed in a structure known as a portico. That might sound surprising. But in 2013, archaeologists working at the ancient coastal city of Argelos found one that completely changed how experts viewed early Greek commerce. This long row of businesses near the Aegean Sea welcomed shoppers roughly 2,500 years ago, making it the oldest known shopping complex ever discovered in northern Greece. But what amazed archaeologists wasn't simply its age. As the excavation continued, 7 individual shops emerged, and no two looked exactly alike. Their layouts and architectural details differed enough to suggest that each owner had built his own store instead of following a single official design. The result was a marketplace stretching about 130 feet, where every business reflected the choices of the person who owned it. The team also found coins, pottery, and other everyday objects that helped date the site while giving a glimpse into ordinary life in Argelos before everything changed. In 357 BC, Philip II of Macedon forcibly relocated the city's inhabitants to strengthen the nearby settlement of Amphipolis. And since then, this once bustling marketplace has slowly disappeared beneath layers of earth and time. Number 11. The prehistoric city of Akrotiri. Long before Pompeii disappeared beneath volcanic ash, an entire Greek city met a very similar fate. On the island of Santorini, once known as Thera, lies Akrotiri. Excavations began in 1967. When Greek archaeologist Spiridon Marinatos started exploring the site on the island's southwestern coast. What emerged from beneath the ash was far more than a collection of ruins. People had lived there since the late Neolithic period, and by the early Bronze Age, Akrotiri had grown into a flourishing city covering roughly 50 acres. It traded with communities across mainland Greece as well as Cyprus, Egypt, Syria, and the Dodecanese Islands. Here, carefully planned streets and an advanced sewage system reflected a level of urban planning few would expect from a settlement more than 3,500 years old. Then, disaster struck. A powerful earthquake forced the population to abandon the city before a catastrophic volcanic eruption buried everything beneath thick layers of ash and pumice. That destruction became an unexpected gift to history, preserving Akrotiri for thousands of years exactly as it had been left. Number 10. The untouched grave of Minoan well. It's a harvest he didn't expect. Back in 2018, a farmer on Crete parked his car beneath an olive tree near Kentry. Seconds later, the ground gave way under the vehicle. He managed to move the car, then returned to see what had caused it. Instead of an ordinary sinkhole, he found the entrance to something that had remained hidden since the Bronze Age. Archaeologists soon confirmed it was an untouched Minoan tomb dating from 1400 to 1200 BC. That alone made it rare. Many Minoan graves were robbed long ago, but this one had survived as it was left. The tomb had been carved into limestone and divided into 3 areas. It held 2 clay coffins, known as larnaques, with the remains of 2 men inside. Nearby were colorful pieces of pottery and 14 amphorae, pointing to wealth and high status. Ancient masons had sealed the grave so carefully that no looter ever reached it. For more than 3,000 years, the 2 men, their coffins, and their possessions remained exactly where the Minoans had placed them. Number 9. The mysterious coin stash of Corinth. The ancient Greeks were known for their thriving ports, busy marketplaces, and flourishing trade. But this discovery in Corinth tells the story of wealth that was hidden away and never claimed again. During excavations carried out in 2016 and 2017, archaeologists explored an ancient harbor belonging to one of Greece's greatest cities. Among the ruins of a building, they found a strange collection of 119 coins. Most were bronze, struck during the reigns of several Roman emperors and dating between AD 306 and 518. Their location raised an even bigger question than their age. The coins had not been scattered by accident. An iron lock was found with them, convincing researchers that the money had originally been stored inside a locked container made from wood or another material that had long since decayed. Whoever buried it had dug no deeper than 30 to 40 centimeters before covering it up. Then the building came crashing down. But the owner never returned, even though the hidden fortune was within his reach. Number 8. The oldest written Odyssey, the first Olympic Games, were held at Olympia in Greece, and we mean, even today, this sanctuary continues to surprise archaeologists. During a recent excavation, researchers were clearing an old Roman rubbish dump when an ordinary-looking piece of fired clay caught their attention. It didn't look valuable, but the words carved into its surface made it one of the most important literary discoveries ever found in Greece. The tablet was created sometime before the 3rd century AD and preserves 13 lines from Book 14 of Homer's Odyssey. That makes it the oldest known written fragment of the epic ever discovered. Originally composed around the 8th century BC, the Odyssey stretches to nearly 12,000 lines, telling the story of Odysseus and his long journey home after the Trojan War. In fact, even more intriguing, the text on the tablet is not identical to later copies of the poem. It's still a puzzle why it ended up among discarded Roman waste, or what purpose it once served. Until those questions are answered, this small clay tablet remains one of ancient Greece's most puzzling literary discoveries. Number 7. Vlokos. The hidden hill city of ancient Greece for 2 decades, archaeologists looked at a hill near the small village of Vlokos in western Thessaly without realizing what was waiting beneath their feet. Strongylovouni was thought to be little more than another forgotten settlement in an ancient backwater. That assumption lasted until 2016, when researchers surveyed the area using ground-penetrating radar. The images revealed something nobody expected. Beneath the soil were the remains of a large planned city. Straight streets, an organized town square, and massive defensive walls gradually appeared on the scans. The fortifications enclosed nearly 99 acres, while visible ruins on the hillside were identified as parts of gates, towers, and city walls rather than isolated fragments. Evidence suggested that Vlokos flourished between the 4th and 3rd centuries BC before being abandoned for reasons that remain unknown. Some researchers suspect the Roman expansion into the region may have played a role, but it's still debated. The discovery restored a forgotten chapter of ancient Greece and proved that even today, great cities can remain hidden in plain sight. Number 6. Names of the Amazons now. This is one of those ancient discoveries that completely changed the way historians looked at a familiar object. For decades, scholars studying ancient Greek vases kept running into the same puzzle. Beautifully painted scenes showed the legendary Amazon warriors, but the writing surrounding them looked meaningless. Since the words made no sense in Greek, many believed they were nothing more than decorative markings. That idea lasted until 2014, when researchers decided to examine the inscriptions from a different angle. They noticed that the names of the Greek gods on the same vases were written perfectly, raising an obvious question: what if the remaining words weren't Greek at all? After selecting 12 vases, the mysterious inscriptions were translated phonetically. An independent linguist, unaware of the project's purpose, analyzed the sounds and reached a remarkable conclusion. The Greeks had been recording the Amazons' names as they heard them, preserving echoes of the ancient Circassian language, spoken nearly 3,000 years ago. Suddenly, the meaningless words became real names, including princess, battle cry, hot flanks, don't fail, and worthy of armor. Number 5. The ancient Greek computer, one of the greatest discoveries from ancient Greece, wasn't pulled from a temple, a palace, or a royal tomb. It came from the bottom of the sea. In 1900 and 1901, sponge divers exploring a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera recovered marble statues, jewelry, and other priceless cargo. Mixed among the wreckage was a corroded lump of bronze that hardly looked worth saving. It was one of the most incredible artifacts ever found. Once cleaned, the object revealed tiny triangular gears, rotating wheels, and markings laid out with astonishing precision. For decades, nobody could explain what it was. X-rays during the 1970s and 1990s finally exposed its hidden design, showing that the 2,000-year-old mechanism could calculate the movements of the sun, moon, and 5 known planets. Then, in 2006, CT scans uncovered even more details, including concealed inscriptions inside the device. Today, more than 80 surviving fragments continue to be studied, and many researchers describe the Antikythera Mechanism as the world's oldest known mechanical computer, combining Babylonian astronomy, Greek mathematics, and unbelievable engineering into a single bronze masterpiece. Number 4. The island of Delos discoveries. This island holds a special place in Greek history and mythology. Believed to be the birthplace of Apollo and Artemis, it has long ranked among Greece's most important archaeological sites. But recent excavations added another fascinating chapter to its story. Very little was known about the island's earliest years, especially how its people connected with the outside world. New discoveries finally provided an answer. Beneath the surrounding waters, archaeologists uncovered the remains of an ancient harbor along with sections of the old coastline. The largest structure was a huge breakwater, built to protect incoming ships from strong winds, measuring about 525 feet long and 131 feet wide. Even more exciting was a collection of shipwrecks from different countries and periods, some nearly 2,000 years old. Many carried amphorae from Italy, Africa, and Spain, while one Hellenistic vessel still held jars used for oil and wine. So, what's your take on it? Number 3. The Zeugma Muses. Back in 2014, archaeologists were working to protect the ancient mosaics of Zeugma from rising water when the project took an unexpected turn. Their focus shifted to a grand residence known as Musallar House, a building thought to have belonged to one of the city's wealthiest families. As the soil was removed, 3 beautifully preserved mosaics came into view, each packed with insane detail. The largest portrayed the 9 Muses, the legendary daughters of Zeus who inspired music, poetry, history, and the arts. At the center stood Calliope, regarded by ancient writers as the greatest of them all, while her 8 sisters surrounded her in an impressive display of craftsmanship. Founded around 300 BC, Zeugma had grown into one of the Roman Empire's most important trading centers, and homes like this reflected the fortunes of the people who lived there. The choice of artwork was no accident. Wealthy families often decorated their houses with scenes that reflected their interests, making these mosaics more than beautiful works of art. They gave a rare look at the values, tastes, and intellectual life of ancient Greece. Number 2. The legendary battle's naval base history remembers the Battle of Salamis as the clash that changed the course of the Persian Wars. In 480 BC, a smaller Greek fleet defeated the far larger Persian navy, ending one of the greatest threats Greece had ever faced. But for centuries, No one knew the exact place where those Greek ships had gathered before sailing into battle. That mystery finally took a major step toward being solved in 2016. Archaeologists investigating Ampalakia Bay on the island of Salamis uncovered underwater remains of an ancient naval installation. Stone walls, harbor facilities, sections of buildings, towers, and protective breakwaters gradually emerged beneath the water. The structures date to the classical and Hellenistic periods, matching the era of the famous conflict. Their location beside the narrow straits where the battle unfolded also matched descriptions left by ancient writers. Piece by piece, the evidence pointed to the same conclusion. This was likely the very harbor where Greek commanders assembled their fleet before launching the naval battle that stopped the Persian advance and altered the future of Greece. Number 1. A jewelry-filled shrine to a Greek hero. Not every ancient Greek tomb belonged to a king. Some were built to honor heroes whose names have long vanished from history. While investigating the Trapeza Plateau near modern Aigeo in the Peloponnese, archaeologists identified what they believe was the ancient city of Ripes, once tied with the legendary Pelasgi, a people said to have lived in Greece before the arrival of the Greek tribes. One structure immediately stood apart, known simply as Building C. It proved to be a heron, a monument dedicated to an honored figure. Beneath its collapsed limestone and conglomerate roof rested Pentelic marble statues of a young man and crouching lions, along with cist graves and a stone sarcophagus. The burials held massive treasures, including finely crafted gold necklaces, rings, lion-shaped earrings, funerary coins, iron buttons with surviving fragments of cloth, and an unusual solid gold earring depicting a winged cupid carrying both a wreath and a scepter. Together, these discoveries point to people of exceptional wealth and status while preserving the finest examples of early Corinthian funerary architecture ever found. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.